From Creamer Media in Johannesburg, this is the Real Economy Report, our top stories this week. In the aftermath of the Air France Airbus disaster, we look at South Africa's ability to conduct an over-ocean search and rescue operation. The construction industry needs better health and safety statistics. And Goldfields launches a 550 million rand housing project. A major search and recovery operation is still underway in the South Atlantic for an Air France Airbus, which crashed on June 1st. Would South Africa be able to handle such a disaster? Keith Campbell reports.
For the Airbus search and recovery operation, the Brazilian Air Force has deployed up to 10 aircraft, including a most sophisticated radar aircraft, with assistance from the French and United States navies, who have contributed advanced maritime patrol aircraft. Could South Africa mount such an operation? I put this question to South African Air Force Chief, Lieutenant General Carlo Gaggiano.
I would like to take you just to our area of responsibility first before I answer that question. Our area of responsibility stretches from the northern border of Namibia to the Antarctica and northeast to the southern border of Mozambique. So it's a vast area which we are responsible for search and rescue. Obviously, not only ourselves, but there's a maritime component to it as well. We don't have the high-tech equipment for search and rescue that's been utilized with the Air France accident as we speak. But we have systems to be able to cover most of that area. However, this is an identified gap, and very soon we will start a project in order to beef up our surveillance and equipment to be able to do search and rescue in this environment. First of all, the first initiative is obviously our maritime patrol aircraft, which as a secondary role will have most of the equipment that you require to do such a search. Further into the future, one will also have to look at the airborne early warning, which is in the back of our minds in order to supplement our static and mobile radars.
Construction sector health and safety systems in South Africa aren't operating as they should be. This is according to the Construction Industry Development Board. Part of the problem is the lack of reliable statistics. Irma Fenter reports.
According to the Department of Labour, there were 162 fatalities in the construction industry, excluding motor vehicle accidents in 2007 and 8, compared with 79 in 2006 and 7, 81 in 2005 and 6, and 54 in 2004 and 5. However, CIDB Construction Industry Performance Program Manager Dr. Rodney Milford says these numbers lack context.
But what those numbers don't say is were fatalities per 100,000 gone up or gone down. So the numbers are slightly not necessarily meaningful. We need to look at them in more detail. Has the incident rate gone up or down? And unfortunately, we don't have enough statistics in South Africa to be able to draw these conclusions. We're also not sure if those statistics are 100% correct. They're indicative only, it's a starting point, but it's not the definitive answer.
Why are these statistics then not reliable? Milford says the problem is twofold.
There's two issues, the lack of consistent statistics, a lack of being able to access that, and the basis on which they collected, the numbers. As I said, we need to be able to understand the industry. We need to capture fatalities per 100,000 people, fatalities per number of hours worked, and we're not capturing that information on a consistent basis across the country.
To be more specific, Milford says the Department of Labour's statistics do not include vehicle accidents, while around 40% of all fatalities in the construction industry are linked to vehicle accidents. The CIDB also believes there is much underreporting to the Department of Labour in the industry on health and safety issues. Yet another set of statistics, believed to be quite accurate, comes from the Federated Employers Mutual Assurance Company, or FEMA, which, however, accounts for only 20% of civil engineering contractors in the industry. Milford says the Compensation Commissioner should be able to report on health and safety in the industry most accurately. However, yet again the numbers are flawed, as the latest round of available statistics is from 1999 and therefore 10 years old. The solution, he says, lies in a comprehensive effort from all stakeholders to determine the real numbers and to then seriously tackle the problem of bringing them down.
Goldfields officially opened its 196 million rand employee housing scheme in the West Rand. The project forms part of the company's broader 550 million rand housing program. Loni Prinsloo has the story.
Housing is a critical issue facing the South African mining industry. This is why Goldfields' housing scheme aims to tackle the problem by renovating employer housing and upgrading all of its high-density accommodation villages. In addition, the company has developed a 24-hour employer program that promotes improved accommodation, nutrition, health, sport and recreation, learning and safety. Goldfields CEO Nick Holland tells us more.
What we're doing here is actually addressing some key legacy issues in the past. The industry over the last 50 to 100 years has been structured in one way. We recognize that today is very different, and this industry needs to change. And so this is really something that we've been focusing on for the last 3 or 4 years, and we're very proud today that we're showing one of the key pillars, that is the provision of housing for our people, and that goes on the back of also the upgrades of our various high-density accommodations. So these are all just cogs within the entire wheel of 24 hours in the life of our mine, and that's, I think, a catchphrase that people can remember, something that will go down and become part of our culture and values in our organisation. So I'm particularly proud that I believe Goldfields is at the forefront of all of this.
Goldfields Head of South African Operations, Vishnu Pillay, explains the logistics and budget allocation for the project.
Goldfields has committed just over R500 million towards a program of constructing new homes and upgrading high-density living areas. To date, we have invested just on 36 million rand in new home construction and just on 200 million rand in the upgrading of high-density living areas for our employees going forward.
And now for a sneak preview of this week's Engineering News magazine. Read our cover story on the case for including photovoltaics and biomass as components of South Africa's feed-in tariff system. We report that Johannesburg's 1.6 billion rand bus rapid transit system will now be operational by the end of August. And the 360 million rand new 4-lane N17 link between Nasrec and Soweto is scheduled for completion by the end of the year. And in Mining Weekly this week, in this week's cover story, we report that investment demand and exchange-traded funds are to underpin the platinum price. We report that the 1.2 billion rand Richards Bay Coal Terminal Phase 5 expansion will only be commissioned by the fourth quarter of this year. And a new study reveals that gold miners aren't finding new deposits to meet future needs. That's Creamer Media's Real Economy Report. Join us again next week for more news and insight into South Africa's real economy.
Creamer Media's Engineering News has delivered unmatched insight into the real economy. For breaking news, visit engineeringnews.co.za. The Engineering News, not just for engineers.